Notice the railing in the middle of the window? That is the type of work that they've done.
Shoddy work, years of delays, and projects marked complete that were not. Those are some of the complaints homeowners have shared with us about the Rebuild Florida program. And tonight, as we continue our investigation waiting for Rebuild, the head of the state agency overseeing this program says the state has found potential fraud.
All of my doors have no threshold boards. Air just goes right in through it. This thing right here, all my doors are hung crooked.
It's been 3.5 years since Fred Brooks signed an agreement with the DEO, now known as Florida Commerce.
I was excited. I was like, praise Jesus.
To receive a new house through the Rebuild Florida program to replace his home.
Look at the corners on every window.
That was damaged by Hurricane Irma.
The red light, that's the alarm on the septic tank saying that the pump's not working.
Brooks says he can't live in his new house because the septic tank collapsed after it was installed.
He drove up and down this place, right over the septic tank.
And that's not his only complaint.
If you look here at the plan, it says right here, okay, it's got a top cap, it's got a bottom cap.
He's talking about these columns.
This is what the state paid for. This is what I was awarded. That's not what they're getting. Cracked window right there.
Inside, his frustration continues.
This thing right here, this thing's always been, it's not able to hook up to the end.
He showed us a heated text exchange he had with a Rebuild Florida inspector last November.
And I'm gonna get every blade of it, is what I told her.
The last time he says anyone with the program visited his home.
It was 3 months later before they would do anything, before they would even talk to me.
The state also provided us with a string of messages Brooks sent that they say raises concerns for workers' safety.
In the case of Mr. Brooks, that is a challenging one. He has, and this is not easy to talk about, he has actually threatened to kill the contractors multiple times.
Brooks, who is not facing any charges, disputes that and says he just wanted the contractors exposed.
Maybe I went through this so that I can stand up and point it out and do some good that way.
So now his house, a project that cost $434,000 according to public documents, sits empty.
It was supposed to take a year, year and a half. It's been 3 years plus. It'll be 4 years next December. And I had to fight with them all the way.
Our months-long statewide investigation found dozens of homeowners who are still waiting for Rebuild to finish their projects. The state awarded IEM, a disaster recovery business, a $252 million contract to administer the program. IEM says it's made extraordinary progress in just 5 years against incredible odds. The company says 95% of the roughly 4,000 homes are complete, despite global supply chain disruptions, additional storms, labor shortages, and pandemic shutdowns.
Your call may be monitored or recorded for quality or training purposes.
The company says its call center and case management team are for homeowners to contact when issues arise.
Thank you for calling the Rebuild Florida program.
Oh, yes, ma'am. This is Mary Gill. I'm calling to check on my case.
But homeowners we spoke with say the lack of communication is troubling.
And I can't even live in my home right now. I've called y'all plenty of times.
And Secretary Alex Kelly, the head of Florida Commerce, has heard the same thing.
We've consistently heard from these homeowners, that no one at IEM, no one at the subcontract will call them back. No one will just answer the question and deal with the problem.
IEM declined our multiple requests for an interview, but sent a video of the company's CEO who says they're dedicated to serving the people of Florida and the remaining homes should be finished by the end of the contract this July. Many of those still waiting feel neglected, sharing their stories on this Facebook page and with us.
When that contractor throws their hands up and just abdicates that responsibility to somebody else, of course, in each one of those cases, we step in.
After we gave the state about 24 names of homeowners we spoke with,
you can see the lines.
Florida Commerce sent employees to their homes to see their complaints firsthand.
Based on our review, going and actually talking with the homeowners, actually looking at what they identified as concerns, I think probably about 3/4 of those 36, I think they failed in one way or another. And there's a portion of those, I think about 16 or so, that they marked as complete and they were not complete, which is falsifying information.
Kelly credits homeowners for speaking out. This month, he says his office referred its first case of suspected fraud to the state attorney's office.
IEM signed off on the completeness of work, and we had clear evidence, photographic evidence, that that was a lie. So we referred that case to the state attorney in Fort Myers.
So IEM could face fraud charges if the investigation finds fraud?
It could, yeah.
IEM says it has seen no evidence of fraud, and the case in question was an excusable human error by an inspector. The company says it refunded the $50,000 in question until the matter is further reviewed by Commerce. Both IEM and the state say they are committed to getting those in the Rebuild Florida program back into their homes.
July.
This July,
This July.
all the work will be finished for the Hurricane Irma program.
The contract for the contractors ends then, so they must finish it in July. We know that there's about 300 homes that still need to get closed out, and that's a real issue for 300 families, 300 groups
Sure.
of people who
So you're
have
working to get
vulnerabilities.
them.
So our goal was to get those done, and if we have to drag IEM across the finish line to make sure that those homeowners get what they're supposed to, they get completeness, they get a safe home to return to, we'll drag them across the finish line.
And we will be tracking this program every step of the way. The state shared with us some testimonials from homeowners they say are very pleased with the program. You can read more about that, and you can see all of our stories plus statements from IEM and Florida Commerce in the Waiting for Rebuild section of the First Coast News app. And the state just launched its Hurricane Ian program and tells us lessons have been learned. They're now focused on rebuilds rather than repairs, which they say can be more complicated. Tomorrow night at 11, a homeowner who has waited years to get back in her home finally gets a step closer.